Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I am here with my husband Sush.
Hello.
To do another tag. So we were tagged by Priscilla at Bookie Charm, who I will link below, to do the Booktube Partner tag. And this is something that both she and her sister Yvette, who is BookCave, who will also link below, did as a fun thing with their partners, where their partners did their makeup. And answered a bunch of questions about them and about reading and about BookTube. These questions that Priscilla chose are taken from two different tags. So the first tag was the BookTube Boyfriend tag by Myonna Reads, and the other was the Literary Lovers tag by Bookish Babbles. I don't wear makeup, and so we tried to think of what we could do together, and we decided that we were going to make some Christmas cookies. We're going to make almond thumbprint cookies. Sush is going to be making the rolled cookie dough, and I'm going to be in charge of thumbprinting and adding some jam. We've got some marmalade and some lingonberry jam. So I will ask Sush some questions and he'll answer, and we'll do the tag, and I'll answer some as well. So first, how long have we been together?
So this is 2019, so 9 years.
Yes, that is correct. What was the last book that I read?
You read Myonna last. I think you finished earlier this day.
Yes, I did. Do you remember what I finished before that?
What did you finish before that? I'm afraid I'm not sure.
Yes, you are. You know what it is. Don't you?
What is it?
Robert Jordan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wheel of Time, number 6. We read it together.
Yes. I was sure you would have finished something else.
No, I didn't finish anything else between those two. What's my favorite book?
What's your favorite book? I don't know. I don't know about favorite book, but I think I have a contender for favorite series. And that would be the Wheel of Time series.
It's definitely one of my favorites. What are some other favorites? I don't know if I have a single favorite, but maybe things that I'm particularly fond of.
Recent favorites, you really loved Gods of Jade and Shadow. Last year, Spinning Silver. And I know that, I think you really liked Myonna as well. You were singing high praises of it. So maybe that is a contender?
Yeah. And I think for you, let's see, some favorite books that you've read. Obviously, The Wheel of Time is a big favorite series of yours. You really like a lot of comics as well, like Girl Genius and Sandman. I can name favorite authors for you a little bit more easily than favorite books. So Terry Pratchett and also Neil Gaiman. So those are all favorites, I think, for you.
What about nonfiction?
Nonfiction favorites for you, let's see. I think you really liked Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I think you also really liked Phoebe Robinson's audiobooks.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Thinking Fast and Slow, I think you liked a lot. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind.
Yeah.
But I think there's others as well.
Are these a little too big, do you think?
That's maybe a little large, but only a little. Okay, next, what is my favorite book genre?
I think that has to be fantasy. There are several genres that you really like a lot. Sci-fi is one, romance is another, and you've been reading a lot of nonfiction as well. And especially with your themed reads, you're trying to really branch out. But I think fantasy is going to be your comfort/favorite genre.
Yeah, it's also the genre that I kind of got into reading with, so I think that impacts my love of fantasy in the way that I just kind of always come back to it in a sense.
Makes sense.
And for you, I think fantasy as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we're both big fantasy fans. We definitely bond a lot over our love of reading fantasy together.
Yep.
Let's see. How much time do I usually spend reading?
This is difficult because I think it varies a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to say somewhere between 2 and 3 hours on an average, but it really varies a lot.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true. There's definitely some days where I'll read, 4 hours, and some days where I'll read like a half hour. I don't know if there are days where I read nothing, but I can imagine there being some when we're like on vacation and busy or something.
I think even on days when you're really, really busy, you'll read like about half an hour, I think.
Yeah.
As kind of like your relaxing downtime before you go to sleep or something.
Yeah, it's very much my downtime.
Yeah.
And I think that you spend maybe not quite as much time reading because you have other ways of winding down. Like you do like games and things like that too. But I think that you would generally read at least, I would say more than me in a minimum. Because of your commute.
In the minimum, yes. Yeah.
Because of your commute, I think you get audiobook time in at least an hour a day. And then you read past that as well. So I would say generally about an hour or two a day.
Yeah.
What is one thing you notice about my reading habits?
Very, very wide. Yes, your tastes are very wide too, but what I mean is you're reading many books simultaneously, and that's always a surprise for me. And I think you're in the middle of, at any given point of time, somewhere between 15 and 20 books, which is a little, yeah.
I do maybe have an issue with...
I think you're a mood reader. It's like what appeals to you this moment is...
Yeah, that's part of it. It's that, like, I don't necessarily want to always read the same thing all the way through. I kind of like to vary what I'm reading. I think I'd liken it to when I'm eating food. It's not like I'll eat all of one thing on my plate and then all of another and then all of another. I kind of like to take bites of each. And I think I like that in my reading too. I like it to just be a little bit varied as I go, which means that sometimes I'm in the middle of maybe a lot of books. And
associated with that also books where you have not DNF'd, you have not abandoned it, but you haven't read in a while.
Yeah.
And so that increases that number somewhat. It's not that you're going...
It's very true. Or like some books I very much want to read, but I had to return to the library, and then I've got other priorities, and so I haven't been able to go back to it, so that happens. Yeah. I think for you, like your strange reading habits, I find it very strange how fast you listen to audiobooks. You listen to them at like 2x speed, which I can't understand what they're saying at that point.
I think what happened was at some point of time, I think some book or the other, it felt like it was going too slow. And so I increased the speed at which I started listening to it. And then I found that 1.25x was normal, and then I could just hold on to that, and then I bumped to 1.5 and so on and so forth. And now if I try listening to an audiobook at 1x or 1.2x, it feels too slow. It feels artificially slow.
Yeah, I don't know, it feels artificially fast. Anyway, so that's a habit that I notice of yours. And similarly, like, you find it weird how many books I'm in the middle of. I find it weird, like, you really don't, Sush does not like to have many books checked out even. He only wants like 2 books, like an audiobook and an ebook, checked out at any one time. And if it's more than that, it's like, oh my god, this is too much. Whereas I maybe tend to check out a lot of things at once.
It becomes a stressor for me because it's like, it becomes a to-do list.
Yeah. So, okay, next question. What book should I read sometime soon?
I think Because Internet by Gretchen McCulloch.
Yeah.
That's my turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds really fun. It's all about language and how its usage has changed with the internet, and that's definitely, Sush just read it, and it sounds like it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm interested in that one. I think that you should read Myonna because it was very good, and also I bought it for him.
So, I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Also, the Winter Night Trilogy by Catherine Arden. I think that you would really like that. Sush does not like to read series before they are finished, and so he waited until the last book came out, but then there were other things to read, and even though that came out, I don't know.
It came out around the time the Hugos were happening, and then there was Space Opera September, and then
there were other things that we were busy reading. So, but yeah, I think you would like that. Yeah. Okay. Share the story of how we met.
So, we met online on OkCupid, and I had just gotten on it, and she pinged me regarding a grammar joke about split infinitives that I had made. And then I visited her profile, and she had whole huge odes to cereal about how much she loved them.
I was living in Japan at the time, and they, at the grocery stores there, they really only sell like corn flakes and frosted flakes, and I was just majorly missing cereal options. And I might have talked about that a lot on my OkCupid profile. I would get bored and just like rewrite stuff a lot, so.
Yeah, your profile changed every 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then how did we meet in person the first time?
So then after that, so that was September, and then somewhere around November we decided, it's long distance, but heck, we like each other. And then in December you came down for Christmas, and kind of we met up, and then it was
Yep. And you made me dosa, which are like these Indian
crepe-like things.
yeah, they're kind of like crepes, but savory. Those were really good, and it was just a lot of fun. So, okay, what is something that we have learned from each other?
I think for me, I have learned how to say no. I've I'm in the process of learning, let me put it that way. And I think also things like how to set better boundaries and how to not get freaked out by as many things. Yeah.
And I think that I've learned a lot about how to be gentler and kinder and more compassionate and more patient from Sush. He's a good role model when it comes to just considering others and just being a good person. Okay, what skills do you have that I don't, and vice versa?
This is really difficult because I think the moment I think of skills, my mind goes to things which are like professional or hobby-based, or arcane things that kind of like solving a Rubik's cube. You have, I'm pretty sure you don't know how to solve a Rubik's cube, but I think it's more from the not caring about it rather than not being able to, and so it's kind of it's difficult to put your thing on that. And I don't know that I can name a skill that I have that you don't. I think there are things that we are both better at than each other.
Yeah.
So for example, multitasking, this is actually taking all of my effort answering and being able to do this, for example. And if this were any more difficult, I don't know that I would be able to do that.
I think that we each have maybe strengths. I don't know that it's necessarily that there's complete skills that one of us has and the other lacks, but there's things that we're stronger at. But yeah, I agree with you. Okay, how about, what are some of your favorite past memories of us?
One trip to Half Moon Bay comes to mind from back when we were living in the Bay Area. And I just remember it was this gray, cloudy sky. It was drizzling half the time. And we went out to the beach, which is like a rocky area. And there was a lighthouse. We went on little hikes with wet rocks and it drizzling a little amount at the time. So
we love rain and clouds. That's like our favorite kind of weather. So it was really beautiful.
It was good. We were wearing jackets and kind of like, yeah.
Our favorite beach weather is the kind that demands a coat. Yeah, it was so much fun. We stayed at this super cute little bed and breakfast.
We watched Hidalgo.
We watched Hidalgo, which was such a sweet movie. If you guys haven't seen Hidalgo, you should watch it. I mean, it's funny because this came out a little bit, not too far after Lord of the Rings, and Viggo Mortensen was in it, but this was by far my favorite performance of his. I really like Hidalgo. So, yeah. Yeah, I think some of my favorite memories of us are things like road trips. Really like road trips with Sush, and where we get to listen to audiobooks and we constantly pause them as we go to discuss our thoughts, and then like going and seeing new places and exploring new cities and trying new restaurants and like going to national parks. And there's just, I really like road trips with you. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, I think Route 66
Mm-hmm.
was such we've been wanting to drive along Route 66 for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year we just decided to drive part of it. We couldn't drive the whole thing because it goes from like Chicago to LA,
Mm-hmm.
but we drove a part of it from Texas out to Arizona, and that was just a lot of fun. So that was a lot of fun. And it was very like Americana.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. Okay, which books have we read together?
A lot of books that, so first off, all the bedtime stories, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, we are currently working our way through Wodehouse, and previously we finished the entire Sherlock Holmes collection. And
if you guys didn't know, Sush reads me a bedtime story every night. I usually fall asleep within like, I don't know, 5 minutes. But yeah, so it takes a very long time to read anything, but it's a lot of fun.
And it's really funny because some things definitely put you to sleep easier than others. Any descriptions of cricket or
Oh my lord, it's the most boring thing in the world. I'm just asleep in seconds.
And with Wodehouse, there is a fair amount of that. Then I think and in terms of you reading, and then we have Wheel of Time, which we trade back and forth depending on who's doing whatever else while the other person is reading. So it's like one of us will cook and the other person reads. Then there's, recently you read Gods of Jade and Shadow to me. Previously the entire Murderbot series.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year there was Spinning Silver. We also do all the Rachel Ignatowski books.
Oh yeah, the like the women in science and women in art and stuff. We're not done with those, but
Yeah.
we've been working on them.
Yeah, and so it's really nice to do like a couple of pages at a time, for example.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Well, that was the last question.
I'm done with this.
Yeah, I haven't filled all the cookies yet, but I will, and we'll show you what they look like when they're done. So that was the Booktube Partner tag. We'll go ahead and tag a couple of other people. I think it would be really fun to see Rhea at the Bookfinch do this with their partner, and also Andrea at Infinite Text with her fiance, if you can get a hold of him and get a video done. So if you guys are interested, we'd love to see you do this tag. And thanks for joining us on our Christmas adventure.